Good everyone, Ordnance video. Today we have a review on the later model Spitfires, the Mk-22 and Mk-24. And well, the title of the video says it accordingly, the last of a true icon. These are the last Spitfires we're ever gonna really see, that are the most advanced models that were actually produced. Now, the most advanced Spitfire that saw action in World War II, I believe, was the 14. The 14 was the latest one that we had during the war, and then the 18 came not long after, but obviously that never saw combat. Same with the 22 and the 24. So the Mark 22 is, well, there's not a lot of differences between it and the 18 and the 14, but you get a different engine and obviously different armament. So we'll go over that shortly. So if I just I'll get up a 14E just to compare it for comparison's sake. As you can tell, the speed is a little slower and the engine is a little different. In the 14E and 18E, we have the Rolls-Royce Griffon 65, but in the 22 and 24, we have the Rolls-Royce Griffon 61. This engine has a little bit more power, even out the box, but that doesn't make a huge difference. It's about the high altitude performance. The Mark 22 and 24 really do have very good capability at high altitude. However, you won't be beating stuff like TARs because there's not a lot that can beat a TAR. Let's be realistic here. Now, the one thing I don't agree with is the BRs of these aircraft. The 22 does not deserve 6.3, and the 24 does definitely not deserve sit at 6.7. And there's a good reason for that. I don't think they deserve to fight Hortons and stuff like that. They are very capable aircraft indeed. However, I just don't think they're worthy of fighting Horton, because as you'll see in this battle, fighting a Horton is a testament to luck, and if the Horton pilot actually knows what he's doing, which in this case the Horton pilot didn't. But in one case, I nearly got blown out the sky because of a mistake on my part. But obviously, I don't really fight Hortons, so I didn't really know what it could do, and that nearly got me killed, but I got away with it, luckily. Now, the guns have actually changed on this aircraft. They used to be Hispano Mark 5. Now they're Hispano Mark 2. And there is a little bit of a complaint that I do have to raise about the Mark II cannon. The 22 was built in March 1945, and the 24, I believe, was built in March 46. And obviously, they were used by the RAF to some extent, but even so. And as you'll notice, the 24 has a bit better performance, but I'll point out why. But the main problem with the cannons on this thing is that they still jam to this. Like they still have susceptibility is the word I was looking for, to jamming. Now, why is that? Well, let's have a look. Now, bear in mind, I said this aircraft and the 24 first flew in March 1945 and 46 respectively. Although the 24, I think, probably flew earlier, but I'm not sure. And yet we have to do a 1943 gun upgrade. This I don't agree with. This shouldn't even be a mod. Even if that means engine injection and cover, and obviously respectively for the 24, the 150 octane fuel is a bit higher to get in terms of RP requirement, I wouldn't mind. But why should we have to research a year 1943 gun upgrade when the aircraft is from 45 and 46? This makes no sense. But this is Gaijin, they're a bit stupid. In terms of armor, they're relatively the same as the older Spitfires, well, the later model Spitfires. 3mm of steel covering what should be the cannon clips, as you can tell. They would be for the machine guns as well, but obviously this aircraft is not equipped with machine guns. You've then got a little bit of steel around the prop, you've got a little bit of steel near the dashboard, you've then got a little bit of steel protecting the pilot, which ain't going to do a lot, and then you've got 42.8mm of bulletproof glass. The Spitfires aren't really known for their durability, but the wings are definitely more tougher than the earlier Spits on this aircraft. So that's something you can at least hope for. Low altitude performance is hit and miss. I would recommend getting engine injection and wings repair before you even start doing low out fighting. It doesn't accelerate too well without those, so just bear that in mind if you're doing low out fighting. The 24, on the other hand, we're going to cover that very shortly, but we need to finish off the Mark 22 because, well, there is also one other difference between the aircraft, and that's its ordnance. So thanks to this menu, I don't have to fanny around just showing. I can at least show it in a lot better light. With the 22, you get a choice of 3 250-pound bombs, 6 RP3 rockets, 2 250-pound bombs and a 500-pounder, 3 500s, 2 500s, or 2 250s. Not bad capability for a Spitfire. I'm certainly happy with that. It's more than capable of doing so. But this is where the differences come in for the 24. Now, the 24 differs with having obviously a different paint job, as you can tell, and I love this paint job, I have to admit that. And it also has better overall ordnance, because obviously it can carry 8 rockets instead of 6, which to some people would be as a benefit. And additionally, it has a ability to obviously work better, because obviously the 150 octane fuel. Now, the 150 octane fuel is very important for this aircraft because obviously it's a 6.7. It's going to be fighting a lot of jets, and as you can see in this battle, it was a 7.3, and it wasn't pleasant. Well, in fact, no, I think it was a was it 7.3 or was it 7.7? Yeah. Someone will clarify because they know more about jets than I do. But I do have to admit these aircraft suffer for the most part in their BRs. It is very rare you're going to get an anti in the 24. It's more common in the 22 to get an anti, but you're more likely in the 24 to get up tiered, and that's the one thing I don't agree with. As capable as this aircraft is, it should not be fighting jets 80% of the time. It is very good, but it's also suffering against some of the jets. I mean, Hortons can actually outturn you and obviously outspeed you. The Arados are going to be a big threat, and also the 262s are going to be rather a big threat. And that's one thing I don't agree with. These aircraft should not be at their respective BRs, but hey, I mean, it took them many years to down tier the N1K2s, so these probably won't be down tier for some time. I'm probably a reason for that because I actually did pretty okay because I mostly flew these things in squads and they are very capable in a squad. So the Mark 22, I got 10 deaths, 31 kills, and 69 ground units. I know Hello First, I'm going to say something about that. I had to mention him. It's been a while since I don't see Hello Friend in the comments section much, so I like to just make a joke every now and again for him because I know he likes it. Then the 24, I got 5 deaths, 23 air kills, and 38 ground targets. The battle you're going to see today is the 24. I was flying out with Munchkin, aka Troll Gaming, and he's, well, let's put it this way. The previous match, me and an enemy pilot who shot him down both roasted the hell out of him, so he wasn't exactly he was eager to fly, but at the same time he didn't want to get roasted again, and he pulled his weight this match. Let's put it that way. And as you can probably tell, my throat is dying, so I've got to finish this up quick. And this is a 27-minute battle, but don't worry, I'm going to skip most of it, but not the fight with the Arado. I'll put it that way. There's a good reason why I say the fight with the Arado, because well, you're going to see. But let's put it this way. If it wasn't for me knowing about the Arado C3's weaknesses, because I actually have flown the C3. I flew it against a mate of mine, and he was actually surprised with what I could do with it, but I also learned its weaknesses, which is what I wanted to utilize here. So as you can tell, we've got A2Ds, Vampires, F80s, F84Bs, and obviously the enemy team has nothing but jets. Me and Munchkin are the only props, because well, Munchkin doesn't actually have the 22 and 24, he only has the 14E. Now in this battle I was actually carrying 30 minutes of fuel, which I would only advise if you're on a big map like this, and there's a good reason for that. Because then you can wet the balls off this thing to climb it up, and obviously get above the jets, and then you still have plenty of fuel for combat situations. So I'm just going to bounce this ahead a couple of minutes, and obviously me and Munchkin was in Discord at this time, roasting each other as we usually do. So yeah. As you can tell, the cockpit really doesn't change from the Mark 9 onwards. That's one thing to take note of. So as you can tell, the enemy team has gotten off to a good start, but so has our team. And at this point, this team wasn't particularly looking too good, because obviously the jets were spread all over the place, and obviously with us being in props, we're a bit different compared to the enemy team. So at this point, I was calling out jets to Munchkin. I was saying to him, well, I want to kill the Ordnance first, because, well, they're important. But if we can knock out the 262s, that would be nice. The Arado we can leave till later, and we was just planning what to do at this point. Now, the Mark II Hispanos do have a lower rate of fire than the Mark V, but if I'd have had the Mark V Hispanos, I'd have been screwed in this battle. More screwed than I was. Let's put it that way. So we're deciding who to go for, and obviously we're keeping an eye on all the jets, because obviously we want to take out the high priority targets, aka the Hortons. And at this point, a Horton appears on the right hand side. Now, there is very few things you can actually do against a Horton, but if the Horton pilot's a dumbass, and I think he actually sparked off me there, as you can tell, the Horton is very maneuverable, but if he pulls vertical and loses all his speed, you can flip it around and smack him in the face. So, there you go. Kill number 1 on a Horton 229. I would say jet kill, because, well, that's what I tend to do when I'm flying a prop and I'm fighting props and jets. I tend to say jet kill, because, well, that way it differentiates. But we fight nothing but jets, so there's no real point. I mean, I shot down a handful of prop. In fact, I can count on one hand the amount of times I shot down a prop. That gives you an idea of how many up tiers I had. Most of my kills were jets in this aircraft. So obviously at this point I'm looking for the Hortons again. I'm trying to deal with the Hortons first. And Munchkin is obviously with me to try and back me up, and obviously there's another jet up there. I didn't really see what it was, I think it was a Horton. But as you can tell, it's not looking good for our team. And it's not helped by a guy named Kevin the Fan, who is currently AFK. He spawned in this battle, taken off, and as you can tell, he's all the way over here in G9. Great. Fighting jets, I'm in a freaking prop, which shouldn't even be here, to be brutally honest. And yet, yeah, we're getting swarmed by jets at this point, and Munchkin and me, we was just like, right, remember, focus the Hortons. If we don't kill the Hortons, we're going to have a big problem. And at this point, a Horton 229 enters a dogfight with me. Now, as maneuverable as a Horton is, when it gets to low speed, this is where you can take advantage of it. Now, I tried to do what I call the Spitfire flap trick, which is where you tap the landing flaps for like half a second, then you retract them. Tap again, retract them. Actually very beneficial to a Spitfire's turn rate, if you know what you're doing. But as you can tell, we are being swarmed. There is jets everywhere. And I obviously wanted to take out the Horton. I put a good hit into the Horton's wing, and obviously Munchkin's bringing the party to me. And I was like, don't bring the party to me, I'm taking down one of the most important jets. But at this point, that Horton is actually screwed. He's going to crash very shortly. And here comes AJ380. He's going to be a real thorn in my arse, let's put it that way. So at this point, I fire a couple of bursts just to get his attention. I don't think I scored any hits, but even so, and obviously the Horton 229 has just gone down. And at this point, I'm dodging the 262. I'm throwing some very evasive maneuvers, because obviously I know how to counter a jet. And at this point, I've got a good crit into the 262. I'm not sure what I crit though, but I did score a crit at least. But now it's down to just me, Munchkin, and Mr. AFK. And there's 6 jets. Yeah, this is going to get interesting, isn't it, folks? So at this point, the 262 goes down after a long burst from the Mark II cannons. As I said, ground targets is going to be a friend. And, well, yeah, this is going to get tough, and that's putting that lightly. Because that Arado pilot, he knows what he's doing, and he's also going to be a very big thorn in my backside, and that is putting that lightly. So as you can tell, 5 enemy jets left, a Horton, 3 262s, obviously one of them is a 50mm, and 2 others are the squadron vehicle 262, and obviously Mr. Arado C3. And as you can tell, the team hasn't exactly done all that much. I mean, they've managed to knock out some jets, but obviously I've had to do some of the work with when it comes to jets. Relatively lucky here. Managed to avoid the head-on with the Arado reasonably well. I did score a couple of hits, but it didn't really do too much damage. And obviously, I'm trying to keep an eye out for me and Munchkin. We really are pushing our luck here. And to be brutally honest, I was relatively surprised we got well, I say I got away with this, and you'll see why. And as you can tell in chat, I'm not happy with the F-84. And I'm saying to Munchkin, look, we need that F-84 if we're going to survive. And this is where I thought we were screwed. Horton 229 has reclimbed and is ready to come down on us. I said to Munchkin, we're fucked. We can't do anything. We've pushed our luck too far, and there's really not a lot of stuff we can do here right now, mate. Now, Munchkin actually manages to... Well, I think he managed to get one of the 262 to crash. So that's a positive. It turned out that 262 was actually damaged from earlier on, but obviously Mr. Arado's taking a pass at me again. He's going to be a thorn in my arse, and I swear, I was using an awful lot of expletives to describe that Arado pilot. You don't want to know some of them, let's put it that way. Well, I say a lot of them in my videos anyway, but I think you can understand. So at this point, Munchkin is being swarmed by the 229 and the C3 Arado. And I'm saying to him, mate, I'm down to 66 rounds. Bear that in mind. And this you should never do. You should never engage a Horton. Well, try to engage a Horton head on. You will get eviscerated. And I'm saying to Munchkin, break. Arado, well, Horton is coming onto you right now, and he breaks when I tell him to. Unlike Shadow, he can break when I tell him to. I know Shadow's going to say something about that. But now we are really down to the wire. We've got the Arado, we've got the 262, and we've got the Horton. But where's the 262? You might be asking. Well, you'll see in a moment. And I'm just watching the F-84 and I'm thinking, he's got to be AFK, that's the only logical way. And at this point, as I said, 66 rounds, I'm doing it. I'm taking a head on with a fucking Horton. I can actually credit him there. You're going to see him later. And here comes the Arado coming in for another pass. And again, do not try this at home. That's a 262 coming up my windshield. I poured the last of my ammo into him. He's got he's a terrible shot. I crit the 262, and I think Munchkin is going to be the one to finish him off. I'm not sure. I don't remember what happens to that 262, but the Horton is actually going to go back to base very shortly. And here comes the Arado taking another pass at me. Like he really liked me. I think he knew I was the better pilot out of the two. Munchkin's actually just shot down the 262, and I say to him, look mate, I've got next to no ammo, and you've got a Horton right up your trumpet. But unfortunately, Munchkin reacts too late, and well, there goes Munchkin. I'm now alone against the Arado C3 and the Horton 229. And this is where the sweating started, because if you don't know, I sweat a lot under pressure, and I was under some fucking pressure here. The Dodger's first attacks, my intention was to try to get him to crash into the mountain, which he almost did that, was to pop my last flap and try to use it to defend myself. And if you listen carefully, I'm slowing down the engine throttle. Now why is that? I'm overheating. I didn't have radiator at this time. And same as with the other Griffins, you need that upgrade. I didn't have the radio at the time, I was researching it for this battle. And, well, as you can tell, it's kind of needed, because this thing is really starting to struggle now. I'm having to manage the throttle. And, as you can tell up here, I'm out of ammo. The Arado isn't. Yeah, it's not looking good for us, is it? And obviously with the F-84 still AFK, because he's going to be AFK for another 5 to 10 minutes now, And I'm trying everything I know. I'm trying every single maneuver, because obviously I can't shoot back, and I think the Arado knew that. And I'm trying everything I can to throw the Arado off. I'm trying to use low speed maneuverability. I'm trying to roll as best I can, and I'm dodging him as best as I can. And I just can't fight back. I mean, I'm against all the odds right now. But this is one thing that this plane really got me to do, and that was to put myself to the limit. And that's one thing I enjoyed about this plane. I really did learn a lot flying this aircraft. It was one aircraft that I really do have to give its props for, was putting me to the test. And this is one such example. I mean, this Arado is not going to break off without a fight. But the problem is, I can't raise that fight. I have no guns. Well, I do, but they're out of ammo. You get what I mean. And given the fact that this aircraft, if it saw service in World War II, would have been fighting 262s and would have been fighting Arados, don't mind fighting the Arados and the 262s, that's not the problem. It's the Hortons that I have the problem with, but you can counter them. But obviously, I'm using every trick in the book. I'm trying to get him to crash. I'm trying to duck under bridges and stuff like that. I'm trying to duck into trees to make him crash into a tree and do a Daytaurus. I'm trying everything. And Munchkin was like, how are you going to get out of this one? And I said to him, I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know. Because another thing is that, remember that combat fuel? That's why I'm still airborne. If I had taken 20 minutes of fuel, I'd already be in the ground. Let's put it that way. And well, I bet you're getting bored of this rope-a-doping and dodging, so I'm going to jump as the head. And this is where the Arado is going to soon run out of ammunition after taking many, many passes. So obviously I'm trying to get back to base. I'm snap rolling the plane to obviously dodge out of the way. And I'm using the mountains to cover myself, which is another smart tactic which I recommend you try. And at this point, the Arado finally breaks off, and he starts heading for his airbase. And I said to Munchkin, I don't know how the fuck I'm still alive, but I'm gonna take it. And at this point, Kevin the fan has actually come back, and he's come back after 20 minutes. He might as well not have been in this battle, because, well, yeah, he really didn't do a lot for this team. So me and Munchkin both reported him, and Munchkin was like, well, he almost died trying to stay alive whilst he was doing nothing. I understand people have, like, personal things and stuff like that, but all he's done is be AFK. He took off. Well, in fact, I'm surprised he even got his wheels in before he even bloody went AFK. What I suspect he did was taken off, put his wheels in, and then went AFK. And obviously now, there's the Horton. And this is the problem, because, well, I don't really know what a Horton can do in a vertical, but after this battle, I'm pleasantly surprised what that thing can do. Now, that flying Dorito chip is surprisingly maneuverable, but that is the moment where he could have blasted me out of the sky. I underestimated his turn. I let myself get slow in the vertical. He could have easily blown me out of the sky. You've got to be careful with that. And, well, the Horton eventually is going to get cocky. He's going to try to get into gun range, and obviously now I pull it into the vertical because I know I have the advantage. He's out of speed, he's low on speed, and one of his engines is actually damaged, and he's trying to outrun. But as good as the Horton is at accelerating, it's not outrunning a Griffin. Kill number 4, and that's that. As you can tell, I had a lot of fun, but at the same time, an awful lot of sweating and stress. It's a very stressful aircraft to fly, but it really does test you. So if you want a plane that can really test your piloting skill, here's your bird. And if you want to fly the last true icon of the Second World War, the last model, well, here you go, the Mark 24. And obviously the Mark 22. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's battle in the, well, today's spade review in the Mark 24 and Mark 22 Spitfires. Since I forgot to mention it, I'm going to quickly mention it here. The only difference in terms of ground strike ordnance is the Mark 24 can carry 8 rockets and the Mark 22 can only carry 6. There you go, in case I forgot to mention it earlier. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one.